Hi, this is Dory with Prairie Scraps, and I'm coming to you today with an update on our foster care walk. I know it's been a long time since I've talked about foster care very much, and I know when I was first starting to do foster care, I was always on the edge of my seat and wanted to hear from people about what was going on in their foster care walk. And I would just watch, episode after episode on YouTube about their experiences in foster care, and then would always wonder why they would have long periods of no talking about it or having updates and stuff, and I would be really sad about that. So anyway, I now understand after having our third, well, actually, she was our second foster love placement. And then we had a third one over July 4th weekend that was just a short-term one, but still was a very good experience. So we've now, in 2 years of being certified, we've had 3 placements. I've talked to you a little bit about the first one, and then our second one we got last January, at the end of January. We got a baby that was 2 months old, I guess. And she has been the joy of our lives for 11 months. And in that time, we also, like I said, had a week and a half where we had a 4.5-year-old placement very temporarily. So it was meant to be temporary to start off with. And ultimately she needed a lot more, and she ended up going to a really great family. So we're excited for her that she got that. So anyway, I'm hoping to be a little bit more purposed to talk about the foster care experience that we've been going through, because I know as new foster parents, foster care parents, or even more experienced ones, I always am trying to see what other people are doing, how they feel, how they walk through it. I know for myself, we live in a small town. There's only one other family that I know of that's actually doing foster care. She's got some placements right now, and so she's very busy with her placements, so she doesn't really have a whole lot of time to chat and catch up and whatnot. So it feels very lonely as a foster care parent. And I have to say, we're very far. Our district comes more out of about 90 to 150 miles away. So it's not, we try to make it to events and things down there. And of course, since COVID has happened, which has been a huge blessing, we've actually had more contact with our foster group, because everything's been on Zoom. So that's been kind of fun. So a little bit about our placement. Like I said, we got a baby that was 2 months old, and we had her for 11 months. And I think one of the things I've learned a lot about in this last year of having her, we loved her so much. My husband even just made a post on Facebook and talked about how what he's learned from this little girl is that children don't have to be our own children in order to be completely and entirely loved by us. So that warmed my heart, made me cry a little bit that he had that to say about our experience. I'm sorry in advance. I may be a little bit tearful because we have recently reunified her. And like I said, we love her like no other, and we want the best for her and her family. And so anyway, that's where we're at. Just to tell you a little bit, we had her in our family, then COVID hit in March and April, and everybody was shut down, including child and welfare department. So her visits were done by us in our home. That was a whole different scenario. If you want to see more about that, please ask questions or go back and watch my video on our COVID visitation, because that was kind of interesting, especially with a newborn baby. We had just a wonderful time with her over the last year. We were very fortunate and blessed to be able to take her on vacation. It actually looked like we weren't going to be able to, because the social worker wanted her to go continue visitations, even though we were going on vacation for a week and a half this summer. So, and we were just devastated. We even talked about shortening our vacation so we could take her with us. We really, really loved her in our family. Currently, I have 5 kids total of my own. 2 of them are out of the house. One's married. One is living on his own, working a full-time job post-graduation from college. And then we have 3 bios living at home. I have a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 10-year-old. And so this little baby was just absolutely loved by everybody in our family, unbelievably. And we were devastated when we thought about her because she had been with us all through COVID with nobody else having her. I stay at home. I do teach piano from my home, but we've been able to pretty much have very few babysitting. I do have one friend I've had babysit that I totally trust, and am very thankful for her helping us out with babysitting. But other than that, this little one has never left our care except to go on visits with her parents. And so that was pretty heart-wrenching when we thought we weren't going to be able to take her on vacation for a week and a half. Then we kind of accepted it, and we were like, well, maybe it's a good break. You know, God is providing us with a break for our kids that are bio kids, and we'll just go and we'll make the most of it. And then a couple of days before we went, I got a phone call from the social worker, and she said, I'm really sorry about this, but the parents are asking if you would consider taking her with on vacation. So of course we said yes, absolutely. And we tried to proceed a little bit with figuring out our vacation all over again with a baby. So those 2 things were very different, because for us, it was like, oh, we can go canoeing because we don't have a baby that's going to crawl out of the boat, and, you know, all these different things. So as a splurge on vacation, we did rent a motorboat and went skiing and water tubing on the lake with baby in the bottom of the boat with her life jacket on. She was not super excited about the life jacket, but fortunately, once the boat was moving, she either slept or was totally happy to sit with the boat moving. So I'm not sure what to think about that. I think she's going to like some adventures as she gets older. But and then just to give an outline kind of our life. So that was our summer. We had that vacation with her. We did, through court this fall, did find out that they were trying very hard to reunify and send her back to her parents. So they started having more visitations and having longer visitations, and were finally able to have unsupervised visitations. And of course, we started having this, sad feeling in our heart. And everybody says the reason why they don't ever want to do foster care is because they don't want to give them up. And I'll be honest, it's not my favorite part. It definitely was very painful. It's still very painful. There are days, 2 days this last week, I think I spent almost the whole day just crying because she's not with us anymore. So anyway, it's not easy, but I keep the kids and my husband and I and the kids keep talking about the fact that no matter what happens, these kids are worth it. She was worth jumping through hoops for. She was worth losing for that moment, that whatever moments we can to love them. So that was kind of, it's hard. Foster care is hard. This reunification is super hard. And at this point, she's back with her parents full time. I just pray and hope that everything works out good and she's safe and she has a great life. And I hope and pray that we'll be allowed to be in her life. And that's our prayer. I mean, yeah, it's not ideal. Of course, I would love to keep this little one, but she wasn't mine to begin with. Overall, I mean, this is really the thing that tests your faith, right? That she doesn't belong to, none of our kids belong to us. They all belong to God, and they're all in God's hands. And it takes a total walk of faith to just hand her over and know that you may never see her again, because the parents don't have to share her with us. All that being said, we started they did a slow progress towards reunification. And what we found out was she started having some really bad reactions to that. When she would come home, she would do you know, some things that were concerning, a lot of screaming and crying with us. And when I called the social worker to say, I'm not sure this isn't going well for her, she was like, we're going to rip the Band-Aid and send her. And they wanted to actually send her the next day. The social worker knew that we had a weekend that we were trying to get together as a family and celebrate my husband's 50th birthday. So, and we had a whole reservations planned and everything already. So she talked the whole staff into waiting until after that weekend with my husband's birthday. So we had one final weekend where we stayed in an Airbnb. There were 10 of us, including little one and the dog, and we spent 2 nights away. The kids all went ice fishing. My pregnant daughter and I spent time with baby and taking care of her. And even though she was still a little bit of a pill all weekend long, we all enjoyed the time we had with her. And then Monday, when we came back at noon, they came and picked her up and all of her things, and she went back to her parents, and we cried. So that's reunification. I mean, it's not fun. It's very hard. It's hard. I can't say anything else, but that being said, I actually had a friend say to us, well, that's what you signed up for, right? And I was like, yeah, but that's not what I was thinking about. So anyway, that's what happened. That's where we've been at. I will try to come back on and tell you a little bit more about our walk and our feelings. And it's Prairie Scrap. Subscribe and go ahead and like this. Ask me any questions you want. We'll talk to you soon.